1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, mother out.
This is my attempt at a Bannerlord Khuzait only world conquest. A challenge where I can only use troops and equipment from the Khuzait troop tree, and companions, wife and cleansing invite to my kingdom must be of Khuzait origin. Iron Man mode is on, meaning we will have to deal with whatever misclick or mistake we make. Death is enabled, meaning no one is safe from injury or illness. Every world conquest I will be adding a new rule. This time, no smithing. My primary income sources this run will be buying and selling goods, raiding villages, participating in tournaments, and enjoying the spoils of war. This is the story of Kulan Thunderhoof, and the rise of a kingdom that will last 173 years. But first, we must make a name for ourselves. We start off in the usual way, fighting looters to level up our bow and riding skills so we can upgrade them, joining tournaments and heading to the Aserai Desert to fight desert bandits to reach Clan Tier 1 as soon as possible. The Desert Horsemen are worthy opponents, making the renown from battles higher than any other bandit type, but the Footmen are no match against my 2 stacks of arrows. We continue these fights, and after winning a 1v30, we take over a hideout that gives us loot for us to sell. These are all great ways to earn money, but without smithing, I know I will struggle financially later. I've been fighting bandits all through the desert and end up near the Western Empire, when I have an idea. My goal is to reach Clan Tier 4 to create my own kingdom and take land near Khuzait territory. I won't have access to the kingdom panel until this point, so any wars will be indefinite. I think Western Empire are far enough away that they won't harass me and are close enough that I could just venture out there to raid villages and fight parties on my own terms. So as the lone member of a clan that has no army, on summer 16, 1084, I declare war on Emperor Garius and the Western Empire and start raiding Lycia. 34 of the inhabitants gathered to resist and I cut them down. I did not fall, but they left me with 1% health. I had to call off the raid as Jastian and his army of 85 came to serve justice, but I escaped through the Aserai lands to recover, vowing to return. More fights with desert bandits bring us to Clan Tier 1 after 26 days. This is the point I decide to start recruiting and upgrade my gear. With a full set of Khuzait armor and a party of 55 troops, I am ready to take on the villagers of the Western Empire again. I march west to Onika, where I have our first fight against 33 villagers, losing 1 soldier. Big-headed and brave, we raid more villages before meeting a party of 66 troops. I see that they are all low tier, so confidently engage in a 44 versus 66. We emerge victorious but lose 16 troops, so must restock. We reach Clan Tier 2 on Spring 11, 1085. We are 95 days into the run and don't have much to show for it. It has taken me double the amount of time to get to Clan Tier 2, and I'm not sure why. There is currently only one Khuzait Wanderer in the game, Aika the She-Wolf. On our way back to the Khuzait lands, we pick her up and sell some of the goods we've been collecting. I have had no real gain from trading so far, as we are 1 year into the run, yet only have 23,000 dinars to show for it. While at home recruiting, I meet Yana of the Kurgit, a suitable wife from a noble house. She is not impressed with my lack of social standing and will not marry without her family's blessing. I quickly found her mother and head of her clan, Musui, but she wanted our entire wealth of 51,000 dinars and everything we owned. I cannot accept such a dowry and must decline. It is autumn 1095. The Northern Empire seems to have taken the brunt of the fighting, as the Khuzait have taken Amprella and Britannia have taken Epicrotia, and the Southern Empire have taken Mysia. Other than that, the world has stayed the same. I reach Tournament Master and recruit our second companion, Ashigan the Ragged. In the winter, we march back to raid more of Emperor Garius' villages with our fully stocked party of 88 troops. I find another battle I think I can win. Our 88 versus 197 men of the Western Empire. We are outnumbered over 2 to 1, but they are mostly recruits. It is a flawless victory, and we only lost 6 troops. We got 24 renown from that battle, and are rewarded for our bravery with Clan Tier 3 on Winter 16, 1085. Kar Benzeth and Epicrotia have been overrun by rebels. If they were closer to my Khuzait homeland, I would be tempted to try and take one. We are almost ready to start our kingdom, and to have a town this early would put us at a great head start in the world conquest. Selling our battle loot, I double my money from 50,000 to 102,000, the most I've had so far. I am desperate to marry Yana, so catch up with Missouri and accept her new offer of 41,000 dinars. And on the 5th day of spring, 1086, I marry the love of my life, Yana. I find Garius and rise to the opportunity to fight an emperor. His men are slightly more trained than the ones from the fights we've had before, but he is still no match for me. I line up with 141 versus his 244. My horse archers scatter his infantry, and I charge in my cavalry when my infantry clash from the opposite side. 16 of our men fell, but we take the general prisoner and continue raiding. We pick up 2 more companions, Bassi the Fatherless and Elusame the Knowing. Comrades like these will be the backbone of the kingdom. I will be carefully moulding each of them into party leaders to command a vast host of troops with me to victory. But they must prove themselves as warriors too. An army almost 3 times the size of ours approaches. Having fought the Empire a few times now, I believe I have a good understanding of when I can fight and when I need to flee. They have 300 footmen, 40 cavalry. We have 40 infantry and 80 cavalry. Half of them are Kansguards. With unwavering confidence, I order the banners forward. My professional soldiers are no match for their fresh recruits, and after doing the dance of the Kansguard, emerge victorious. 334 slain, with only 5 of ours died, one of which was Elusame the Knowing, recruited only 8 days prior. Selling the battle loot, I now have 291,000 dinars. Making money with trade goods has never paid off. I now see the opportunity in war. We also reached riding 225 and chose the mounted patrols perk to reduce prisoner escape chance, and on the 14th day of autumn welcomed our first child into the world, the beautiful Princess Platerade. It is not just me fighting the Western Empire. I witnessed 21 Vlandian lords catch up with a much smaller army and attack. I, however, am seeking out bigger targets and find a 144 versus 449. And after another dance of the Kansguard, we completely overwhelmed them. 440 slain and only 4 of ours died. This brought us up to Clan Tier 4 on the 21st day of autumn, 1086. I met General Garius for the second time in a 183 versus 272. They have more cavalry than last time and seem to be higher tier troops. He marches straight for us and is keen to fight, but we embarrass him again, losing only 10 men. I hadn't noticed, but Teal had rebelled but is now under siege. It would have been a good first town as it is in prime location, but the Sturgeons took it back. I am waiting for a town nearby the Khuzait land to rebel so I can base myself near the recruitment and destruction of them. I continue my harassment of the Western Empire villagers and nobility when my luck turns. Mazir rebels, so I order my men to march. It takes 16 days, but the siege was a great success and we set up our administration. This is the birth of our kingdom, the real start of the Khuzait Khanate, named after my wife. I sent Badur the Fatherless out on a caravan, and soon he is earning 1,000 a day. We are making more money than our expenses. There have been no companions drop in. There are only the 3 I already have. My maximum army size is 361, but we are missing a party leader. That would bring that number up more. We are almost ready for the Khuzait conquest. 6 months later, on the 13th day of spring, 1088, we pick up our next companion, Eka the Alone, from a Vlandian tavern, but hear news that our home Mizea is under siege. It takes 6 days and we are met with 1,137 Western Empire troops mid-siege. Even with our help, the town would only have 837. It is not a battle worth the risks, so I reluctantly ask for peace. The war has lasted 4 years and brought substantial wealth and benefited our troop training. Our maximum army size is now 546. I am ready to take on the Khuzait and start the war on the 8th day of summer, 1088. They have 3 times our troop number, but are at war with the Southern Empire and Northern Empire simultaneously, which I hope will give us better fighting opportunities. We take Amprella and Epinosa Castle, where a second companion was slain, Eka the Alone. Marching inland to continue the war, it doesn't take long for all 3 of my properties to become under siege. The Southern Empire had just declared war on us, so I agreed to peace for 4,800 a day, which lifted the siege of Mizea and Epinosa Castle, but I was too late to save Amprella from the Khuzait. I won't take it back yet. My main goal is to recruit Khuzait clans to fight for my cause. I take Baltikand and join in our first siege defence, and repel the assailants with minimal losses. Kaisa Castle and Dina Castle are next to secure the north. We celebrate Platerade's 2nd birthday there, before marching to retake Amprella, when Kaisa is under attack. It is an army of 372, but we arrive in time to take the castle, defeating the assailants and suffering 5 deaths. In early spring 1089, we take Tepes Castle in a 585 versus 631. That brings us up to clan tier 5, but Caesar Castle is under siege again and lose it before we could help. Angered, I rushed my men in, but the defenders did not yield. We secured the castle once again, but lost 50 soldiers that day. Our luck did not change. The Northern Empire declares war on us and surrounds Emprella, while Tepes is under siege again too. That fight is an easy win against a group of 21, which gives us a valuable helmet worth 24,000 dinars. We rode, but we couldn't reach Emprella in time. There were over 700 in the army of the Northern Empire, so I take the loss and apply for peace, costing 4,450 a day. The fight with the Khuzaits has lasted 75 days. We outnumber them in military strength and are dominating them in the war. We continue to push, taking Makeb, their Nusek castle, when we capture Misui, Yana's mother. I convince her to support me in the war, but she asks for 344,000 dinars, almost all our wealth. We accept, leaving us with 57,000. Entrusting the defense of the realm in my mother-in-law, I leave for the Asrai Desert to pick up Khuzait wanderers that are staying there. I recruit Alusamai Ionai, Dinin the Alone, Komar the Mad, and Okon the Outcast. Chakend, Kimli Castle, and Ortengard are our next prizes, but despite the success in winter 1089, we amass a debt of 150,000. We take Akalat in the spring of 1090. Part of the reason I wanted our first war to be with Khuzait is because there is a higher chance of their clan leaders being open to the idea to switch sides and fight for me. I am unable to do so while in debt, and I am worried that if I do take all their land from them, which I could easily do, they might defecate to another faction, and they would then be harder to convince to support me. I suggest a tactical peace, which they accept. Later that month, Sturgia declares war on us. Eager to clear our debts, I march our 829 strong army into the frozen tundra and begin preying on lords for coin. I arrive unopposed, without targets, so I razed the city of Varnovopol, which drew the attention of Yorig and a band of 652 fighting men. I engage without hesitation, losing 33 troops. Thanks to this fighting, we now have 50,000 dinars after clearing our debt. I feel King Ragnavan does not take me seriously or is otherwise distracted by other wars with Vlandia and the Southern Empire. Taking advantage of his oversight, I take Sibir and Vladiv Castle. The war had to come with some hardships though, as Dinin the Alone fell in battle. With almost 200,000 crowns and war breaking out with the Khuzait again, I abandon our winter campaign and press due south, taking Odok and Hakan Castle. We are now established as one of the superpowers in the world, comparable only to Vlandia and the Southern Empire in size. I seized an opportunity when Teal rebelled, so I took that while Misui takes Samira Castle, eliminating the Khuzaits from the world. It is winter 1090. One final conflict with Sturgia ends the war as they offer to pay us. I accept the offer and look to the Senator Lukon and his Northern Empire. We have paid them 4,000 dinars a day, amassing a total of 617,000, but that stops today. While outside the walls of Emprella, I declare war. We overpower the 347 defenders, but lose 10 troops, one of them being Alusamai Ionai. We took Lokana Castle, but by the time we took Argonon, had lost it again. We have also had war declared on us by the Assarai and Southern Empire. Fearing that I would lose land as I cannot effectively defend my people without more clans supporting me, I offer peace to the Northern Empire. Now targeting the Southern Empire, in autumn 1091 I take Million Castle, but Regea the Widow and an army making a force of 2.2 thousand soldiers marches to us. Regea is not part of the army, and I try to bait her so we can fight alone. The army is marching to attack Mazea, so I try to overtake when disaster strikes. The Widow engages and is close enough to bring the entire force into combat. It's a 698 versus 2,243. It's a valley battle, and for a moment it looked like we had the upper hand, but we could not withstand them. This was the first big loss of the kingdom, and we were taken prisoner by Empress Regea herself. We did escape, but needing to build an army back, I call for peace with the Southern Empire for 13,900 a day. It was not over there though. Sturgia declares war once more, and the Asrai lay siege to our town Odok with 550 men. I have 198 troops, so cannot engage. Making matters worse, a second army of 635 marches past to take Akalat. My kingdom is vast, but I have 3 towns simultaneously under attack. I do however convince Hurinag to join our cause for 250,000, and the Princess Playtrade celebrated her 5th birthday. The siege of Odok is underway. I am cautious to join the melee yet, so I wait for the town's garrison to whittle the invading force down first when I lose Akalat. That invasion force comes to join the siege here, so I am forced to engage before they get too close. It's a 256 versus 277, but because I had never faced the Aserai before, and because I did not have sufficient high-tier soldiers, I suffered my second loss. I was back in irons, less than a month after escaping Regaias, and lost Odok. These invaders are crippling my progress, which prompts me to offer peace to cut our losses. Thanks to these desperate peace terms, we fall back into debt. Over the next year, we focused on the Sturgia campaign, and by autumn 1092 had taken Teal, Omar, and some of the surrounding castles. This success does not dent the kingdom's treasury, as we have fallen to 500,000 in debt, paying 32,000 a day in peace deals alone. We make a strategical move, as peace with Sturgia now meant that they would pay us a small tribute of 1,500 a day. We declare war on the biggest tribute expense, the Southern Empire, who are taking 13,900 a day, and who we have paid 1.2 million dinars to. We took Uriksala Castle, but lost Melian Castle, and quickly rode to break the siege of Mazea, but we were too slow. They were relentlessly aggressive, but I catch 2 armies at Makeb. I break in, costing 100 troops, but there are 20 nobles here, and I recently got the Scouting 225 perk, meaning any lords we capture have a 0% escape chance, making the rest of the war faster and with less resistance. We are outnumbered by 500 men, but a victory here would turn the Southern Empire on their heels. The walls hold, and after 3 sieges, both armies are no more. We are not popular in the world, as Lukon the Delusional declares war on us from his one town, Diathma, and Caladog the Bewildered follows. I have no quarrel with him yet, as his lands are still out of reach, but he is sieging Omar, so sign another expensive peace deal, paying him 8,000 a day. We lost Uriksala Castle to the Southern Empire, but chased them back inside and retook it. It is being defended by my ex-wife Debana from the Empire Only video, but I had the last laugh as I strike her with a mangonel shot and took her prisoner, advancing to Clan Tier 6 in the spring of 1093. We march for Makeb, who is under siege again, as well as Chakend. We easily fight off the 358, and when we reach Chakend, Masuri and her army were waiting there already, making the fight a 1,313 versus 725. We took out 712 and lost only 71 of the combined ally force. In summer 1093, we take Jogaris and Siratos, where my own horse is so eager to fight that he charges in through the main gate, but lose both castles as well as Uriksala Castle in the same month. It is especially difficult to advance without more clans to aid in the defence of the kingdom, but we scored a heroic victory when we took Cyrenea in a 999 versus 589, where I personally inflict 196 kills and lose only 6 men. Another month, and we retake Mazea and Melian Castle, where Regaia offers me 5,000 a day for peace, which I accept, releasing 48 prisoners. The war is far from won, but our debt has grown to 1.5 million. Our tribute payments are now reduced to 33,000 a day. I pick up my next companion, Mojua. He is our Discord moderator and the channel's first member. I never expected my YouTube channel to get this far, and I want to give back to the community where I can. So I've eternalized him into a companion to forge his own story. If you want to be a named character in future videos, become a member yourself. You'll also get a little thank you at the end of every video, as well as contributing to the success of the channel, which I will be eternally grateful for. Back in Caldaria, my kingdom's funds are spiraling out of control. Tribute is my biggest expense, and I noticed that I have been sending the Aserai 10,000 a day, which is built up to a total of 1.8 million of payments. In an effort to minimize my debt, it is time for war. In early winter, they assault Hakan Castle with a force of almost 1,200. The castle has a strong militia, so we wait and watch until their numbers have lessened. They got worn down to 434 before I engaged, where we lost 25 troops but took 11 noble prisoners. Next we take Aklat and Odok back, and even went as far as Hassenfalk before signing a new peace treaty for 1,430 a day, 1/10 of the previous treaty. Our tribute payments are now 14,650 per day. Sturgia are our next highest expense, charging 9,350 a day to declare war, and by the summer of 1095 we had taken Balgard, Vladiv Castle, but lost Ov Castle. My villages are constantly being raided, so to delay the enemy's recruitment and to take for myself the spoils that would be lost anyway, I have an idea to start raiding every village we pass, but not without protest from Mojua. Being the newest member of the clan, he should not have presumed to approach me. I regret bringing him along with us already, so before raiding the village, I lend him some men and send him off to run his own party to prove his worth to me. That very same day, he gets attacked and taken prisoner. I save him by capturing his captor and accept a peace deal wherein the Sturgeons offer to pay 620 denars a day, thus reducing our debt further. Our next kingdom we're paying too much to is Britannia. They've taken 1.4 million off us from payments of 8,000 denars a day. We have no need to restock, and we still have 1,087 men ready to fight, so start work besieging the town of Varsheg, a cursed town that has been a source of persistent challenges and frustration in all my previous runs. The following day, a relief force of 1,700 men forced us to break the siege. War breaks out with the Southern Empire again, putting pressure on Cyrenaica while Britannia attempts to take Omar and Balgard. When we catch up with the Britannian relief force at Omar, they have already been cut down to 748 by the garrison, so we sweep in to finish them. We suffer 69 deaths, but completely eradicate the broken army, taking 15 noble prisoners. We took over 1,000 troops as prisoners and they sell to the ransom broker for over 90,000. Our debt is now 2 million. We immediately march to assault Varsheg and take it, but not before the Southern Empire takes Cyrenaica from us. We make peace with Britannia as tribute is considerably better. As soon as we take Cyrenaica, 2 armies totaling 2.7 thousand men come into view. Only one of the armies assaulted the town and the other kept nearby. We took out 567 men in the first bout but cannot sally out as the second army is still too close and might get involved. To help bolster our troop numbers, I had called other lords to our army some days ago. Today, Romand has arrived and, understanding the situation, bravely engages with the roaming army, giving me an opportunity to organise a sortie and attack the now 1,110 strong siege camp, who still have hundreds of wounded men without the risk of the second army being involved. We lost 31 men that day, but in the battle loot we found a 40,000 denar chest piece to sell. We spare no time and immediately turn to the second army to save the brave Sir Romand in a 986 versus 944. 38 men died and the enemy force is no more. In the absence of any real military opposition, I take Kyrenia and Urzina Castle without consequence. By winter 1095 we have reduced our daily payments to 15,000 a day, but now border every other realm. I own most of the land, but are still 1.8 million in debt. I make peace with the Southern Empire, who are happy to pay us, and declare war on our biggest tribute expense currently, the Yasserai, amending our tribute payments to only 9,000 denars a day. While besieging Hassenvolk, Britannia declares war on us and starts sieging Varsheg and Omar simultaneously. So reluctantly, as I am so far away, I ask for peace so that I may keep my towns, thus undoing the hard work we just did to reduce the tribute payments, as they are asking for 11,000 a day alone. All we had to do was take Hassenvolk and the Yasserai offer us a peace deal, costing half of what it was previously. The goal is to get our payments and expenses down so that we may get out of debt before starting the real world conquest. This allows us to travel north and sort out a new emergency peace deals via war. We marched north to save Omar, but lost her and Balgard a few days prior, both to Sturgia. That was poor leadership on my part. With the risk of being called craven, I accept a cheap peace deal as the damage is done. I will avenge my lost land from these sea raiders, but right now I need my finances in shape. In summer 1096 I declare war on Britannia, ending the 11,000 denars a day treaty. By the autumn I had taken Epicrotia, Cranarug Castle and Resos Castle and caught up with Caladog the Greedy and 8 other lords. We did battle in a 741 versus 739. And I made sure I personally fought this pretender to make an example of him. It was a successful campaign and brought the peace terms with Britannia down to 3,970, which I accept, giving us leave to return home with our remaining 514 men to resupply. Peace does not last long, as the Southern Empire declares war in the winter of 1096 and quickly starts work on the siege camps at Resos Castle and Kyrenia Castle. Now, with a full army of 1,066 motivated troops, I march full force and ready for war. I only have hope to save Kyrenia Castle as I am close by. En route, I take Ursina Castle as the garrison only has 120 troops. I take it but lose 58 of my own. Our debt is slowly reducing, currently at 1.1 million. Our daily tribute payments, however, have increased to 17,000 a day, worse than it was a year ago. I feel disheartened by my progress. We have been in debt for 5 years and can't seem to make any real difference financially or politically. All I can do is take a small piece of one kingdom and then stop to defend my land from sieges across the map, all while juggling trying to reduce my daily tribute payments. When I reached Kyrenia Castle, 1,900 enemy troops had already launched an attack. The castle reduces the invasion force down to 1,305. We are outnumbered, but I know I have a stronger army. The main threat to my soldiers is enemy cavalry, which is only 15% of this enemy force. If the enemy has no cavalry, my mounted archers can safely open fire at the footmen, while my own infantry waits for the balance of powers to even. My trust in my troops pays off as we slaughter the armour, suffering only 75 deaths. It also appears that the Resos Castle siege was unsuccessful. It has only been 10 days and we are off to a wonderful start to the war. When we take Onira, I am taunted with 60 Pugios, which I would have snapped up if I was able to smith. They are my favourite for smelting as they offer all but Themeskene steel. The no smithing rule has held us back massively, from the quick financial gain and from missing out on the perks that the tree has to offer. Without any competition, I set up a siege camp at Donistica, the second town of this war that the Widow started. My ex-wife Dubana from the Empire-only Conquest oversees the defence. We crushed through the garrison with fire and rock. Only 23 men were lost, and we took the Lady Dubana prisoner again. Flandre declares war and takes Epicrotia. I will keep war open and monitor their movements closely, as all the time we are at war, we are not paying them tribute. Unkid of the Aserai declares war on us also. We have made our mark on the Southern Empire, and they offer us a peace deal to pay us 850 a day. On the third day of war, the third day of spring, 1097, Donistica is under siege. En route, I find the Sultan Unkid wandering the field, raiding a village. I overwhelm him with over twice as many troops and take him prisoner. Now the Aserai are leaderless. There was over 1,200 Aserai in the camp, a force I was hesitant to engage with. I decided to break into the town as I wasn't sure how to fight Aserai, another horse kingdom, in the field, and I knew I had better chances behind a wall. I broke in, losing 91 troops. I didn't realise, but the walls were already broken, so I couldn't prompt the first assault by ambushing the camp, so I had to wait idly. I should have waited for the siege to start from outside the walls, then break in, as another army joined the fighting, turning it into an 898 versus 1,945. This is not a fight I want, so I break out, losing even more men. I now have 670 troops. It took me 10 days to gather a full army of 1,070 and return. Surprisingly, the town still holds. When the enemy camp comes into view, 2 of the armies have starved themselves out, leaving only a band of 793 to fight. Even that force could take the town, which currently holds 229 defenders. Confused, I attack with the help of Bagai. 1,215 versus 793. A third of their army was cavalry, and I had a lot of fresh recruits. We lost 181 troops in a poorly commanded battle, but saved the town of Donistica nonetheless. Afterwards, Yana gave birth to twins, I'm Mutton and Brutal Pravus. We spend the next month securing our position at the foot of the Aserai Desert by taking Hassenfalk, Shibal Zimar Castle, and Tamna Castle. Distracted by these victories, Flandre took Resos Castle and Cranarug Castle. That's 3 they have taken off us, but that was 73 days of not paying tribute. We accept the peace terms of paying 3.4 thousand a day. Autumn 1097, and now the Southern Empire declares war on us once again, but the Aserai are willing to pay us 6,940 per day. I released the 61 lords we had as prisoner, and now our tribute expenses are 9,000 per day. Our debt is now reduced to 450,000 dinars. By the spring of 1098, I had taken Jogaris Castle, Mazia, Ordrissa Castle, Lavenia Castle and Vostrum. Thanks to all these victories, on the 19th day of spring 1098, we are now finally debt-free after 9 hard years. Keeping the pressure on the Southern Empire, I take Lycaron and Merenia Castle, shattering their kingdom after 12 sieges in less than a year. They are reduced to 1,500 troop strength. My troops are diminishing, and I am stretching myself too far into the heart of Caldaria. I accept the peace offer so I can recruit again before turning toward the Aserai to expand our kingdom in one wave westwards. While resting in our homeland, we acquire our first 1 million since being debt-free and recruit our next clan for free by convincing Tulag of the Archit. Things are finally looking up. We are no longer playing tribute whack-a-mole and can continue to make a difference on the map. I am excited to be able to continue the conquest and cannot wait for the future. We have a large army capacity and our character Kulan has all the skills and perks that will make the world conquest a breeze. I can't help but eagerly anticipate the possibilities around the corner. After a few months, in the winter of 1098, we had taken Razi, Sahel Castle and Hubya, where a stack of 145 Pugios taunt me. We continue on and take Icaris and amass 50 noble Asterai prisoners. We set up a siege camp at Jamea Castle on 21st Winter 1098, Christmas Eve, when we receive devastating news. Kulan Thunderhoof, leader of the Khergit Khanate, our character, is struck by an illness. Without letting emotion fog the vision of a world conquest, and with weeks to live, I consider my options. Princess Playterade is 12 and is not ready for leadership. With no heirs, the crown must fall to my wife Yana. I have charm level 294 and she is level 61. The remainder of my days must be spent recruiting the remaining Khuzait lords to our clan. After 70 days of war, I make peace with Unkid to sort affairs out. While I am still able-bodied, I participate in my last tournament at Hubya and win it. I am awarded with a tier 6 spiked helmet with face mask worth 32,000 dinars. I gift it to my wife as a farewell. Catching up with Kanajan of the Kultit, I failed to convince him to change allegiance. Gassican of the Oberit just says no, and Akram of the Harfit won't even talk to me. Eventually we find Tasla of the Yanserite, and they agree to join us for free. I don the most expensive civilian clothing I can find and hang up my armour. On the 16th day of infection, I drop to 5% health. I declare war on the Khuzait to try and inspire the clans to join me and set up a siege camp at Samira Castle. I was able to gain enough strength to fight my last battle and took the Khuzait off the map. On the 17th day of infection, I dropped to 4% health. Is this my last day? Gassican of the Oberit accept our offer this time for 450,000 and joins our cause. I cannot convince the remaining 3 clans yet. They all refuse. On the 18th day of infection, I drop to 1% health. I speak to Lady Yana one last time, and the next morning, on the 19th day of spring, 1099, she kneels to mourn her fallen king and rises as Queen Yana. There is no time for pause. Wars have broken out with Flandia and the Southern Empire. The vision to liberate Caldaria beneath the banner of the Khergit Khanate now falls to Yana to fulfill. She calls her clansmen Mojua, Acre the She-Wolf, Asugun the Ragged, and Badur the Fatherless to rally a mighty army. The task is clear. End all who oppose us in the name of Kulan Thunderhoof. With 1,513 troops, we march to our enemies. I send Mojua out on their own to aid in the war effort independently with 256 troops, as our army is so large it can still overpower almost any resistance. We find the Widow trying to take Mazea and take her prisoner. We take Lucana Castle and Atrian Castle from the Southern Empire. We had lost Melian Castle, but Tasla's army, with the help from Mojua and his fresh party, are in the process of taking it back. After taking Sinopia and Varagos Castle in the autumn of 1099, the Aserai declares war on us. The Melian Castle fight is finally underway, but the defenders got the better of them and the castle remains in the enemy hands and Mojua is taken prisoner. I take Fickeron, while several of my properties are besieged. Sinopia gets taken. Concerned I might lose more, I try to think up a plan. It's needless though, as I accidentally misclicked and accepted peace from the widow, releasing my properties from being attacked. I had wanted to take the remaining 3 towns and 2 castles from them, but I will resume our Aserai conquest from where Kulan left off. We are making money every day and reached 3 million dinars. It takes an entire year, and the Southern Empire are back at war with us, but in winter 1100, on the 100th day of war, I defeat the Aserai and now fully control the desert. Yana has proved to her new kingdom that she is a capable leader. Our biggest issue, however, revolves around prisoner escapes. Our riding and scouting are a long way off reaching level 225, where I can combine the 2 perks that make 0% escape chance. Without these, I fear the wars ahead will be drawn out and laborious, as escapees will restock and return to oppose us with a vengeance. Yana's army has dropped to half its strength. I decide to restock during this down period. Instead of travelling through the desert, I chose the route home through Empire and take Poros on my way through. I have accumulated so much loot during the Aserai campaign that I sell 700 wrapped shoes here. Summer 1st, 1101. 4.8 million in the treasury. Vlandia and Britannia have spread and are our biggest threats. All other kingdoms have broken. We march to eradicate the Southern Empire, starting with Sinopia, alongside Bagai's army who siege Varagos Castle. We emerge victorious, but they do not. We immediately march to liberate the prisoners and finish the job, and catch the widow herself defending them. She put up a fight, but we took the castle. We lost 120 brave men, including our companion, Okon the Outcast. Yana takes Atrian Castle next, where Badur the Fatherless was slain. Only 1 town remaining. While sieging Epicrotia, Garius and the Western Empire declare war, becoming our next target. We take the town and make peace after 102 days of war. The Western Empire have 4 castles and 3 towns, a quick war before facing the real enemies, Vlandia and Britannia. Our first goal is to take Amitatis. We have almost doubled their number, but party after party gathers in front of the town. When Gassur and his army comes near, they give chase. There are 18 lords here, and Yana takes the bait. Yana once again proves herself as leader of the Khergit Khanate, as she demolishes the entire army, losing only 42 of her own. The war took 68 days, and we took all 7 properties with no opposition. It is now time to select the next war. Vlandia and Britannia have similar military strength, but Vlandia have 11 more castles, meaning they are stretched thinner. We have also been paying Vlandia more tribute, totaling 455,000. On the 4th day of autumn, 1102, with a restocked army, the choice is clear. With total support from her kinsman, Yana declares war with Vlandia. We take several castles, as well as Jalmaris, where Mutton and Pravas turn 5, and Platerade turn 16. Mojua has been a faithful and competent commander. I feel that it is time to reward his services. I help establish his clan, Motown, and grant him Varnavapol, where he brings along his own entourage, Stevie and Honk. Journeying across the map, we first take Gersagus Castle, then Hertagia Castle and Ortrisia without any resistance. We take Garontor Castle, pushing the Vlandians back into their homeland when Ortrisia is under siege. We were too late to save the town. The defence of the city fell to a large force of over 1,700 across 3 armies, including King Dethat himself. Yana calls more lords from the kingdom to join the fight and sets up a siege camp. With a superior force, on the 21st day of summer, 1103, Yana gave the command to seize back the city. It's a 1,708 versus Dethat's 1,516. But upon starting the battle, we were only given 185 troops. To concentrate the force, I command them to pile through 1 cracked wall, ignoring the gates and second wall that were both accessible, but we did not have the numbers to compete in this fight. I went down and the Vlandian defence prevailed. The remaining troops fled and were able to regroup at the camp. I see no way of success, so I call off the siege, leaving Ortrisia to Dethat the Lucky. We lost most of our high-tier soldiers that battle, so have returned home for the winter to restock troops once again. In our absence, the Aserai declared war and took 2 castles before I could make peace. In spring 1104, with 1,487 men, we marched west again and soon found an army of 10 lords we significantly outnumber and easily overwhelmed them, losing 42 of our own. We then catch up to Death at the Lucky, who was trying to lay siege to Jalmaris, but this time we got to him first. We are evenly matched again, but battles in the field are where our army thrives. We decimate their ranks, but did lose 176. With their king as my prisoner, I take more Vlandian properties from them until a force of 1,500 tries to retake Sargo. They outnumber our 1,100, but Yana shows her natural talent as a commander again, as only 42 are lost, compared to the enemy, who are removed entirely. I notice Honk of Motown has raised a small band of men. I eagerly invite him to join my army to welcome him properly. He arrives in time to take Lanark Hen Castle, where Princess Playtrade comes of age. This is the first time I've ever played long enough to experience this. I call the 16th day of autumn a public holiday and celebrate St. Playtrade's Day with the kingdom. The war lasts another year, but in winter 1105 it is won. It was a fierce war, taking 31 sieges to conquer, but we stayed the superior power throughout the campaign, causing double the number of casualties inflicted, reducing their total strength down to 1,600. The Aserai had taken more castles from us during the 3-year war, but their threat is so little I will just reclaim them when I pass through. Mojua was nowhere to be seen the entire war. He's been staying at his home in Varnovopol. He has married a Battanian, our next target, and they are expecting a child. Despite my generosity and support over the years, they hate me and regard me as their enemy. We liberated Veren Castle, Thraktori Castle, and Tubalis Castle, where Asugun the Ragged was lost in the melee. The last remaining Aserai castle is being besieged by some Vlandians trying to make a comeback. Out of nowhere, Death declares another war on us. To reduce the fighting, I was going to wait for the siege to end and then fight the victor, but Ajin wastes no time in charging the camp. I join myself, overpowering the twice defeated Vlandians. I set up my own camp and take the castle for myself, once more making peace with both vanquished kingdoms. It is spring 1106, and Princess Playtrade gets a marriage proposal. I do what I intend to do with my own daughter Babybim and put a total ban on boyfriends. Declined. While near Jalmaris, we crossed paths with Akram of the Harfit and finally convinced him to join our kingdom. We took Diathma from the Northern Empire and returned home to restock our army. There are 22 properties left to take, Britannia holding 18 of them. We declare war and march with 1,699 troops, full force at Britannia. By spring 1107, I had taken Sabir, Balgard, Ov Castle, Mazadin Castle, and Varsheg, where Mojua welcomes twins, and for the first time ever, I see that he has gathered enough troops to be visible in the army management tab, but still not recruitable as he's below the 40% capacity threshold. He has done nothing since I promoted him to clan leader. Pressing on, we take Uthalame Castle and Sianan, where 1,500 battalions lay waiting. Taking one army at a time will be easy, both together and we will be outnumbered, and the terrain may not be suitable for our Khan's Guard to take advantage. I try to single out one of the armies, but their smaller army outruns us when we get too close. I'm not sure what happened this time, but as I was following the armies, they both turned to engage me. I clicked away, but the click didn't register, and I put it to triple speed, and the two armies lined up their men for battle. It surely was the battle for Britannia. Fiercely and obediently did the army of the Kurgit Khanate fight. During the battle, we ended up losing all our cavalry, and Yana was down. Independently, the Khuzait Darkhans proved themselves again, as they overpowered everything thrown at them with sword and spear. A whole infantry built of Darkhans, I really do believe these have become my favourite soldier. The battle waned on. 377 of our men died that day, but we took 1,493 battalions with us. There are now 821 troops in our army, half of what we came with. I call Mojua into our army for the first time, along with some other lords to bolster our numbers, and took Remtoil Castle. Waiting for the rest of the reinforcements to arrive, I took Maranath, but two armies were close, ready to strike while our numbers were down. Knowing I couldn't face both armies at once, I quickly intercepted one of them. Even though we have 250 wounded troops, we still have 150 more men than Ryland's army. It was a bold tactic that might not have paid off, as we lost a further 112. And now another army is in view, over 1,000 battalions sieging Maranath. But I had a plan. I was going to wait at the city gates. They will need to spend a few seconds after the assault to enter the town. I'm already at the gates. I will be able to auto-resolve a battle with 0 garrison because I will beat them to the town. Whether this is cheesing the system or genius, it didn't pay off. I forgot that I still had to set up a siege camp, which would have taken days anyway, but in selecting that option, it teleported me right into the Battanian armies. I thought about trying to break away, but that would come with substantial losses. I know our cavalry is superior, but did we have enough? 521 versus 1005. We decide to fight. Autumn 3rd, 1107. 15 days Yana had been a prisoner in a cell in the Battanian Maranath. She finds her opportunity and breaks out. While making a treacherous journey back home to rebuild an army, Modra finally achieves something and wins a battle, taking a prisoner. That must have filled him with confidence, because the next day he called the banners and started leading his own army. The fight without us continues. Battania have almost pushed us back out of their homeland, but we are back with 1,708. In summer 1108, we saved Hertigia Castle from being taken, and I finally level Sasha the Alone to Scouting 225 and get the Keen Sight perk. Now there's a 0% chance of prisoner escape. Yana has been struggling desperately without these perks. The Southern Empire and the Vlandians have started coming back, but the war is almost over. Back at our siege camp at Maranath, a prisoner escapes our party. How can this be? I have the perks now. It really did take me 9 years to level a companion this far, only to realise it's a party leader only skill. It's too late now. I have over 1,000 hours in this game, and one of these days I'll get good. On New Year's Day, 1109, with the help of the Southern Empire, we removed the Battanians off the map. It was 190 days of war, and we can now turn to the last few properties. It takes the rest of the year, and on Winter 2nd, 1109, Queen Yana the Magnificent liberated Caldaria in the longest world conquest I've ever completed. The warmongering is over. Now a long-lasting world peace is in effect, it's time for Yana to hang up her glaive and give the realm a new leader to manage its citizens. There is not a more perfect candidate than the Princess Platerade, who is 23 now and has all the administrative skills to restore the realm's prosperity after 25 years of war. Yana abdicates leadership and... Oh, I did it wrong. I was meant to go to the Hermit, wasn't I? No way in hell am I leaving the kingdom to Mojua. Congratulations, King Temen. Ugh. If it wasn't for our main character dying, I think we would have finished many years earlier. Platerade reached 23 years old, and the twins Mutton and Brutal Pravus were 12. The no smithing rule absolutely crucified this run. Raiding villages was good at first, but I needed war loot and tournament horses to stay afloat. The deck got crazy, but I managed to bounce back eventually. Yana did a fantastic job. She was not leveled for the tasks she carried out, and the troops of the Khuzait have become one of my favourites. They were very squishy, and I had to return east to replenish them often, but the tier 6 infantry unit, the Darkans, carried most of the army, certainly when war horses ran out of abundance. Their anti-cavalry spear and fast sword made them a fantastic all-rounder. This was the 3rd episode of my World Conquest series. Join the Discord to stay connected between videos and become a member to become a lord next time. See you in the next one. En route, I take Urzna Castle, as the garrison is only 200. We have made our mark on the Southern Empire, and they offer. I declare war on the Khuzait and try to inspire the clans to enjoy me. As we are 1 year into the run, yet have only 2. I declare war on Emperor Garius and the West. Here we go. Which lift the siege of Mazir and Epinosa Castle. Oh no! I'm gonna do the whole thing again. We have made our mark on the Southern Empire, and they offer us a peace deal, offering to pay us 5. Platerade reached 23 years old, and the twins Mutton and Platerade reached 23 years old, and the twins Mutton and Pravus were 12. Platerade reached 23 years old, and the twins Mutton and Brutal Pravus were 12.